able to tell you a little bit about Anne before she starts her session. And I just want to name how my own mind is blown. So just an invitation for everybody to remember that you breathe, that you have a body, and that you're just right. And I am really looking forward to being with Anne in this next couple of hours and diving deep, because it's one of my favorite things about Anne. Can dive really deep and explore territories that I didn't even know existed. So I've been walking this path with Anne multiple years, sitting in circles with Sarah and other learners that are presenting here today. Anne is who I think of when I'm frustrated with my parenting, when my brain isn't going the way I want it to. And I remember Anne exists in the world and I think, oh, okay. Phew. So the professional piece that we're going to say about Anne is that Anne started taking courses with Sarah in 2015, has been part of the facilitating family constellation class and master classes since their beginning in 2016. She's been supporting Sarah's resonance series as more classes have become virtual during the pandemic. She's an avid interest in understanding the neuroscience of trauma in her own right and with respects to its application in addressing gender violence and how it informs restorative processes and transformative justice.
Thank you, Shannon. I want to say right off the bat that watching that talk just before this, one, it's a perfect segue into chronic stress, who gets to relieve it, who doesn't, and the patriarchal paradigm of our society. And at the same time, my mind just got exploded open. So I'm trying to gather back all the little squirrels that ran away and bring them back to this moment. Let me just start with anchor myself by starting the PowerPoints that I have set up to, because they'll lead me back to myself here. So Jen, will you put up the first one?
Yes, just one second. I'm just renaming someone. Okay, here we go. All right.
Okay, so this is just to make sure everyone's in the right place. It's naming the unconscious contracts made to survive in the phenomena of the patriarchy. And to define my terms, go ahead and do the next slide.
Okay, one second. There we go. Is that
no, one before.
Sorry, my mouse.
What I mean by phenomenon is an object or basically it's something we notice but can't touch or feel. An object or aspect known through the senses rather than by thought or intuition is the definition from the Merriam-Webster. Next slide. And patriarchy, there's a historical foundation of patriarchy, that it's an organization marked by the supremacy of the father in the clan or family, and the legal dependence of wives and children, and the reckoning of descent and inheritance in the male line. I mean, a more contemporary version of this is the imbalanced allocation of reward, resources, and respect towards those exhibiting masculine traits. This is the operative definition for this talk, because every single one of us, no matter the gender, have masculine traits and feminine traits, and which ones we prioritize is what this talk is about. Next slide. And a little bit more about me, that well, I've studied this material over many years. My expertise and my interest comes from my lifetime experiences in the roles of daughter, wife, mother, and as a woman living in systemic patriarchy. I'm offering this exploration to you for your journey and your exploration. And this is how I have understood the impacts of patriarchy and healing on the individual at the collective level. And that's what I want to contribute to to offer to your exploration and a point of departure for you. I'm specifically bringing Sarah Peyton's process and the concept of unconscious contracts here to address the systemic impact on us as individuals, with the goal of inviting more choice, more imagination, more questions, so that we can maybe find more variety of choices to arise within us. Each one of us can start shifting what we want to live and see in the world from within. Because of the time limits of the constraints of time in this presentation, I'm going to limit questions, but I will ask some, leave time for questions. If they are going to change the flow of this presentation, I will ask you to email me. So please take down my email, it's on the slide, and email me questions. I will answer or offer the resources I've used or anything I can. If you hear a question of interest that I'm not able to answer, please ask it through an email. Next slide. I want to start this presentation in an embodied way. And as humans, we all share universal needs for survival and well-being. And to bring the beauty and truth of these needs into a visceral level, I've chosen 4 needs, 4 that are relevant to this exploration. And I invite you to get comfortable, close your eyes, and if you want, find ease and comfort in your breathing and allow these words I have to enter. The first need I want to talk about is safety. And as you breathe in, what does safety feel like in your body? Where does safety live in you? Is the feeling of safety something your body knows? Acknowledge all the times a sense of safety has felt fully met. Acknowledge the lived experience of a loss of safety. Notice and be with this relationship to safety. And breathe. And feel the importance of safety to all human beings. And now I want to bring you to consider belonging. What does belonging feel like in your body? Where in you does belonging live? Acknowledge all the times your sense of belonging has felt fully met. And acknowledge the lived experience of belonging being lost. Be with this relationship to belonging. And breathe. Feel the importance of belonging to all human beings. And now I want to look at choice. What does choice feel like in your body? Where does your feeling for having choice live? Is feeling full access to choice something your body knows? Acknowledge all the times freedom of choice has felt fully met. And acknowledge the lived experience of choice being taken away. And be with this relationship to choice for just a little bit and breathe. Feel in your body the importance of choice to all human beings. And lastly, integrity. What does integrity feel like in your body? Where does your truth and your integrity live? Is feeling integrity something your body knows? Acknowledge all the times integrity has felt in fullness within you. And acknowledge any lived experience of integrity being absent, being gone. Be with your own relationship to integrity and breathe. And feel the importance of integrity to all of humanity. And you can open your eyes and hold a little bit of this visceral experience as I expand these 4 needs into many more needs. And if you can change the slide. I want to look at I've divided these needs up for this presentation. I wanted to emphasize how relational needs get almost forgotten. Like even in Maslow's hierarchy's foundational level, that we can't even access nourishment, food safety, and shelter without being cared for. We come into the world helpless, dependent on being cared for. It is mandatory as humans that we know how to give care and we know how to be cared for as a baby. We have relational needs for belonging and community that I have listed here. And we have needs for recognition and power in our world. And I have those listed here. They all are important. It's not, they're all universal, all important. It's what I want to emphasize is how we prioritize these needs and categories of needs. Sorry, I lost myself for a minute. Just going to collect myself. So going back to the baby, as the baby, our brains need to be discovered and responded to with sensitivity to who we are and becoming. And as adults, our brains devote most of the gray matter to our social well-being and the perceptions of ourselves in the world. Our brains long to know and be known with resonance and generous acceptance, friending and befriending others for emotional safety and well-being. We depend on this. This is biological. Our brains are designed to crave the quality of relationship that Douglas Watt just referred to this morning when he said a friend who gets us through a loss. Well, sorry, a friend who is there through a loss is a friend forever. He also emphasized, and something I wanted to emphasize, that pain from relational loss and separation is a documentable reality. It's exquisite. It is the pain we much more remember than physical pain. Next slide. Feelings indicate where we are in relation to our needs and how able we believe we are to attend to them. They reflect what we perceive and interpret about ourselves in relation to each other and the world. And they let us know if we are thriving or barely surviving. Next slide. They're like our compass to how we are doing in the world, to navigate our inner and outer landscapes and how they interact with each other. Next slide. If feeling we're like landscapes, where do we live? Where do we thrive? And where are we forbidden? Whoa, I didn't realize that was going to happen. so learning as I go here. I didn't know that that would come and go.
Do you want me to go back, Anne?
Yeah,
Sorry about that. Yep.
Okay, next one. Yeah, so where do we feel cared about? Where do we feel respect? Where do we feel stuck? And where do we feel at risk? Next slide. If we think about our feelings and needs as landscapes, where do you dare? Where can you go? Where must you hide? And what have become the limits of your world? Next slide. And if you haven't got this already, I'm very visual. I have a brain injury, and pictures say much more than words. So this is a very visual presentation, and I hope that reaches many of you. And there are plenty of words too. So I want to also talk about welcome and access. Whose needs are welcomed, prioritized? Which needs are prioritized in our external world, not just within us? What gets recognized and elevated as important, and what gets devalued? Who decides which needs are most relevant? And this is not just in the present time, but what's come down from ancestry and history. Next slide. I feel like there's a slide missing here. What slide are we on? Can you tell me the number?
Yeah, I'm just 1 second here. Where do I see the number, Anne? Oops, sorry. Yeah, I am not sure. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Okay.
Just let me check something on the other screen, maybe.
I believe there's one missing that
I got it, 12. So this is slide 12.
Okay, slide 7 is the one that I feel like is missing.
Okay, so do you want me to go back to slide 7?
Yeah, because it's a really important one.
Yep. I hope we're not having technical. There, just 1 second. It's doing the spinny thing.
Okay.
Okay. Good. It asked if I want to restart the program for a second. It does not now. Good. 4, 5.
Sorry, everybody. This is reality. You get.
Here's number
I'm doing human stuff.
Here's number 7. Is this what you were hoping for, Anne?
No, it's not. The next one then. All right, I'm just going to say it that the. Oh, you know what? Never mind. Just go.
Okay, so I'm going to go back.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm actually having a little bit of freezing going on, just so you're aware.
Of physical or the?
No, the computer. Thank you.
Okay.
For asking.
Well, I just, anyone helping me out, I'm so grateful.
Yep.
For your presence. Okay. So going back, I'm going to take a breath. Everyone take a breath. And I'm going to reconnect us to where we were, which was about these 2 different categories of needs. And the foundational ones, the survival ones, really being based in our social, relational needs as a foundational part of being a human. And then as we grow, that there's needs for belonging and relationship. And there was, I obviously way many more that are outside these 2 categories, but to emphasize what I'm talking about, I put the ones I did in that slide. And some are access to safety through physical status and power. Next slide. And some are access to safety through a sense of belonging and community. And this is a spectrum of when we don't have it, it's excruciating, and we don't feel safe. We live with a tremendous amount of stress. And when we do have it, we feel relief. Next slide. And getting this at the very level of the minimal level of physical needs is simply survival. Next slide. So in the framework of patriarchy and needs, patriarchy imposes masculine and feminine stereotypes on qualities and traits and prioritizes physical power over emotional needs. These qualities considered masculine and feminine, I pulled out of Wikipedia, and I really like the way these appear, and I want to read them to you, because listen to the quality of the masculine needs, even if the words were meant nothing, even if it was gibberish. Courage, independence, leadership, and assertiveness.